It's truly an honor and a blessing upon me to be among all of you this evening. My profoundest obeisances and gratitude to His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Everyone, please. My sincerest gratitude, Devakinandan Prabhu and Brajahari Prabhu and Akandamara Prabhu, and to each and every one of you for being here. This temple of Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari is truly a holy place of pilgrimage. Wherever the Supreme Lord or those devotees who carry the Lord in their heart with pure love, wherever they are present, wherever they perform their pastimes, is truly a place of pilgrimage. More than any place on the entire earth, after Srila Prabhupada began his mission in 1965, he spent time here at the Radhanath Bihari property in Juhu, Mumbai. Even though he had very nice temples in so many other places, with so many beautiful facilities, and he had so many supporters, he came to this place, even though there was practically nothing here, very austere, and there was so much challenge, opposition, and struggle. Because he understood what an important part of the world this is. And although devotees all over the world like to talk about Srila Prabhupada's struggles here, hardly a one was willing to actually go through it with him. But one of those few people who gave their lives in this way, from the very beginning until the culmination and the great victory, is His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. One of the beautiful features of the eternal truth of bhakti is that when we appreciate the surrender, the love, and the service of a devotee, Sarinvatam Swakatha Krishna, Krishna in our heart is so pleased that Krishna gives us a similar blessing, even if we didn't do it. If we genuinely, without envy, but with actual appreciation, we celebrate the glorious devotional offerings of others. Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. This is the foundation of the path of bhakti, the essence of Sanatana Dharma. to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna directly and personally speaks 700 verses to the whole world with essential truths that are at the very heart of all spiritual paths of all religions. He speaks through Arjuna to you and me. And this is what Srila Prabhupada and all of our great acharyas throughout history have taught. We shouldn't just see Bhagavad Gita as an ancient, historical, philosophical masterpiece. It is. But we should also very personally feel that in each verse, Krishna, who is in my heart and who knows exactly everything about me, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charge. Krishna tells, I know everything that's happened in the past, all things in the future, and everything happening in the present. And being in the heart of all living beings, I know every living entity thoroughly. Every thought, every word, every action, in every previous birth or every future birth you've ever done or will do, Krishna knows. So when Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, it's the Lord within our own heart speaking to you and me. And if we take it in a very personal way, then we feel the responsibility to follow. It is said, for much who much is given, or for those who much is given, much is expected. And according to how we take this seriously and try to apply it to our life, we can truly make real progress on the path of yoga, on the path of dharma, toward the goal of prema bhakti. Yegata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhaja. According to the sincerity, the intention, the eagerness, and the sincerity in which we surrender, in which we reciprocate with the mercy we're receiving from the Lord. Krishna describes, he reveals himself accordingly. We're studying Bhagavad Gita so that we can give very excellent academic classes on the subject. If we really try hard enough, Krishna will empower us to do that. But only if we're really trying to apply the teachings to our life, which may include giving academic scholarly lectures, or may not, may be applying it to taking care of our little baby at home. If we're trying to actually take personally what Krishna is teaching and applying it to our life, Krishna reveals himself accordingly. And we actually have realization, transformation. And Krishna describes the testimony of one who has actually received the knowledge and have understood it. In Bhagavad, there are many verses in Bhagavad Gita, but they're essentially explained in a verse in the third canto of Bhagavad. The Tikshiva Karunaka Surata Sarvate, Ajata Satrava Santa Sadhava Sadhu Bhushi. One who is tolerant, forgiving, one who's actually merciful, kind, compassionate, feels for the suffering of others and really is trying to make a difference. Karunaka. One who on behalf of the Lord is trying to see everyone with equal vision and being a well-wishing friend to all living beings. And in this spirit is actually peaceful. Such a person is a sadhu. Such a person who is actually received the mercy of the Lord. So I would like to speak today about a particular personality who has the most unique role in all of our lives. Yesterday was his appearance day. Sri Advaita Acharya. How many of you celebrated Advaita Acharya's appearance day yesterday, please? How many did not? How many didn't even know? How many of you are sleeping? In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mangala, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and so many of the writings and teachings of great acharyas of our lineage, the Gaudiya Parampara, there is the glorification of Advaita Acharya. Originally, he is Krishna. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktisham. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in 5 features. One is the avatar, the incarnation who appears in the role of a bhakta. His name is Advaita, which means he's not just one with God, he is God. And Acharya, because he takes the role of a devotee to teach by his words and his example of how the people in this world could learn to be liberated from the clutches of egoism and greed and envy and passion and attain the ultimate state of pure, unalloyed, undivided devotional service. In his tattva, he is the combined form of Mahavishnu, Karunodakshayi Vishnu, and Sadashiva. Sadashiva is the original personality of Shiva in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha realm beyond material existence. And Mahavishnu is the first Purusha avatar who takes the function of creating all the universes within the cosmic manifestation. It is from Mahavishnu that by his mere exhalation and his will, his supreme will, that all the universes are manifested. Limitless universes. And it is by his glance that he impregnates all the living beings who are karmically bound to take birth within the material universes to be impregnated within material nature. It is by his glance that time is manifested and activates all the principles, the gross and subtle energies of creation. And from this Mahavishnu is the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, from whom all the various incarnations and avatars are manifest. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Mahavishnu is a plenary portion of a portion of a portion of Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. From the Supreme Lord Krishna, who eternally resides in the highest realm of the Vaikunthas, the Goloka Vrindavan. Be very attentive to this bell ringing, please. Reminder, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, time I am. So this bell is ringing every hour to manifest a reminder coming from Krishna. The entire universal creation is 1 hour less in, or closer to its end. And at the same time, it's 1 hour closer. It's 1 hour growing and 1 hour, the Bhagavatam describes, with every rising and setting of the sun. Each one of us, whoever we are, whatever we could do, whatever we have, we are one day closer to death. But for one who has a taste for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and who celebrates those glories within our hearts, our lives, for such a person, with every rising and setting of the sun, we're one day closer to eternal life. This is how Krishna reciprocates. Krishna says, I am the sun, I am the light of the sun and the moon. So the same sun is rising in the same horizon. One person, it's taking away 1 day of life, bringing closer to death. And to another person, the same sunrise, 1 day closer to eternal life. Within our free will, that is the choice we all have. Whether we want to grow or diminish with each ringing of the bell. of Radhanath Bihari's temple. The bell is calling us to come to be with the Lord, Shri Radharani and Shri Radhanath Bihari. So Mahavishnu Sadashiva incarnated in this world, especially to bring Lord Chaitanya to this world. He was born in what is now Bangladesh, in a village named Navagram. And when he was young and his parents departed from this world, his father, Kuvera Pandit, his mother, they were great Brahmins, great devotees of the Lord, very pure in every way. When his parents departed, he went to Gaya to perform the Shraddha, and then performed a pilgrimage to the holy places of India for some years. During that time, he lived in Vrindavan, and the deity of Madan Gopal was revealed to him. He was called by the Lord to return to live on the bank of the Ganga, where he made his home in Shantipur. He was married to an incarnation of the supreme goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who appeared as Sita Thakurani. Together they lived there. Within our sacred scriptures, there are many beautiful stories, enlightening narrations about different aspects of his life. I'll just speak one or two very briefly. While he was in Shantipur, one of the greatest devotees that Krishna sent to this world met with him, Sri Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is a Kalpavriksha tree from Goloka Vrindavan, who knows the innermost secrets of Sri Radha Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world. He was so immersed in feelings of love and separation from Krishna. It is revealed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita the intensity, the completeness, the quality and quantity of his ecstatic love or prema bhakti. There's only 3 people in all existence who can understand it. Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya, who is Radha Bhavaduti Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam, who's Krishna with the Mahabhav, the love of Sri Radharani, and Madhavendra Puri. No one else. This was spoken by Kaviraj Goswami. In his spirit of the ecstasies of love of Krishna, describes in great detail the manifestations of the ecstasy of his soul and how it's manifested through his mind and body. But at the same time, seeing the way people were living and the way people were thinking in this world, it broke his heart. He was feeling such deep, profound compassion. And Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata describes he was going to all holy places of pilgrimage. And when you really love Krishna, your greatest joy is to be with others who love Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada would say, Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is not alone. Sri Radha is never alone. They're with their loving associates. The cows, the trees, the supremely conscious, self-realized, enlightened, ecstatic lovers in the forms of the flowers and the trees and the birds and the goats and the sheep. And what to speak of the gopas and the gopis. So he felt such deep compassion. He wanted to help so much people. He was preaching the path of bhakti to whoever would listen. And there's a verse, it tells he was looking for a Vaishnav, but wherever he went, practically nobody even knew what a Vaishnav was. He couldn't find, not only could he not find a Vaishnav, he couldn't find people who even knew what a Vaishnav was. And a Vaishnav is not a sectarian, it's an idea. It's a person who's offering their body, their mind, their words, their life to live in harmony and loving service to the Supreme Lord. So he was traveling. At the same time, in Shantipur, Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani, they were residing. And Advaita Acharya was such a great devotee. He felt such profound pangs in his heart to see anyone who was bereft of the treasure of love of Krishna. He was just longing and yearning to have the company of a devotee to hear and chant with. And one day, Madhavendra Puri came to his house. And there's such beautiful descriptions. What a meeting that was. They were praising each other, glorifying each other's devotion. Throughout the day, throughout the night, they were weeping and crying in ecstatic happiness and love, speaking the glories of Krishna, of Sri Radha, speaking their pastimes, speaking their teachings, chanting their holy names. They would bathe each other with their tears, they would dance, they would sing. Advaita Acharya, although he's Mahavishnu Sadashiva, he accepted Madhavendra Puri as his guru. He took shiksha from him and received initiation, diksha from him. And although Madhavendra Puri recognized who Advaita Acharya really was in the role of a devotee, the purest lover of God, still, for the sake of the Lord's Leela as his servant. He offered him diksha and shiksha. And they lived together so happily. And Madhavendra Puri continued on his journey, his pilgrimage. Sometime after this, Advaita Acharya, because of his qualities, and Sita Thakurani, also his good wife, their qualities were so exalted that they were unanimously proclaimed to be the leader of the entire Brahmin and Vaishnava communities. So learned, so pure, so empowered, so compassionate. Now, in those days, in a place like Shantipur, the caste system was quite prominent, where people judged a person's social position according to their birth. According to the family you're born in, you are designated to be qualified or not qualified in various aspects of life. So what a high position this is among so many Brahmins, many of which are thinking in this way. He is the most exalted leader of the entire Brahmin community. A very, very prestigious post. And most people really like to protect and preserve their post. And then a very special personality came to visit him. Srila Haridas Thakur. Haridas was born in a family that was categorized as untouchable. He was declared a Malecha and Yavana by he had no caste. He wasn't just a low caste, he was a no caste. But he was a great devotee of the Lord. He loved Krishna. He was always chanting the holy names, and he was always feeling such emotion of compassion for everyone who was bereft of that love for Krishna. He was truly, in the purest sense, Trinada Pisunichena, Toror Ibasehishna, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. He was more humble than a blade of grass. He was more tolerant and forgiving and gracious than a tree. He offered all honor and respect to all living beings and never demanded or expected any respect for himself. And in this spirit of being a pure instrument serving the Lord, he was chanting the holy names of the Lord with pure love constantly. 300,000 names of Radharani and Krishna every day. By our calculations, that's about 195 rounds. And he was never competing anyone. He was just giving love of Krishna, giving the names of Krishna to anyone who would come to him. But because of his birth, so many different types of Brahmins, so many different types of everybody, even people from the Malachya and Yavana caste, they considered him a traitor. There are so many stories, there are books about Haridas Thakur. And practically everywhere he went, he was persecuted. There was attempts to destroy his reputation, attempts to kill him. And he was always being misunderstood. And therefore he would just deliver Krishna prema to whoever would accept it, and then he would have to go to another place. Ramchandra Khan tried to destroy him. What was it? Gopal Chakravarti tried to blaspheme him. Kshatriyas, Brahmins. In Fuliagram, there was both the Qazis and some leaders of Brahmin community who all had the king sentence him to death by torture. But yet, he was always everyone's well-wisher. So here is a person that he comes to Advaita Acharya's house, and Advaita welcomed him, honored him. And Haridas Thakur was so humble. How could Advaita be honoring me? He's the most exalted scholar and leader of this whole community, and I'm just an outcast. They lived together. Advaita gave him a night, knowing that Haridas didn't live in houses. He arranged a really nice cave for him. And every day they would spend so many hours together, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani would so lovingly give him prasad. And once, one of the most prestigious events of the year for that Brahmin community of Shantipur was when Advaita Acharya performed the Shraddha ceremony for his ancestors. And all the most, because he was like the king of the Brahmins, everybody came. And at the very summit of this celebration, Advaita Acharya was meant to give the highest honors to the most exalted of all the people who are assembled. The first remnants of the Shraddha. Publicly, he gave that honor to Haridas Thakur. Now we're listening, and we're thinking, this is a very nice story. But actually, why are we still talking about it today? Why is it in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? Why is it in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad? Why is it such an important event? You know, you give some honor to someone at a ceremony. 500 years later, practically every time we're listening to the pastimes of Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, this story is being narrated. We must really grasp this in a very personal and realistic way. Why is it so important? Because it was so utterly radical. A person of this position proclaiming the highest truth beyond all mundane, sectarian, or superficial spiritual conceptions. To give the highest honor above all other Brahmins, the best of all Brahmins. When there are thousands gathered to a person who's being persecuted and hated as an unto, that is Advaita Acharya. Because he was Saragrahi Janardana. Because, like Krishna, he's seeing the essence. He's seeing the bhakti. Lord Ramchandra gave highest honors to Hanuman. They weren't even humans. He was a monkey. Lord Narayan gave the highest liberation to Gajendra, who was an elephant. Later, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they would give this highest blessing and benediction to Jagai and Madhai. They would sing the sincerity of surrender. Advaita Acharya considered Haridas Thakur. He is Advaita Acharya. He understood Haridas to be the Nam Acharya, the supreme teacher for the whole world, for all time to come, of how to attain the ultimate highest protection of perfection through the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And they both shared this deep love and the subsequent compassion that comes with that love. Haridas Thakur, at one time in Fulia, he was offered the opportunity. You want to chant these Hindu names? Do it in private. We'll leave you alone. But if you're trying to teach it to others like you're doing, then we have to torture you and kill you. What did he choose? He said, you can torture me. You could cut my body into 1,000 pieces. But every one of those pieces will be glorifying the path of pure loving devotional service. Advaita Acharya, he was living actually in a really nice house. He had a beautiful family. He was the most respected person. Was he happy? Yes, they were both happy. They were both in the highest ananda. They were experiencing the ultimate potential of the soul's love in the roles of devotees. But yet, paradukkha dukkhi, one of the great mysteries of the nature of a person who really truly has deep ecstatic love for Krishna is they feel every living being, aham bija pradapita, is a child of Krishna. Every living soul in every species of life is a beloved soul, a beloved child of God. Advaita Acharya, he was seeing people suffering. And because he's actually Mahavishnu, Sadashiva, he's not only seeing the suffering of all living beings at that time, 500 years ago, he was seeing all the sufferings of each and every one of us throughout the world, even today and tomorrow, in this age of Kali. Death is inevitable, whoever we are, whether we're saints or anyone else. That's the nature of the body. But those who are suffering disease, those who are suffering being exploited, abused, and tortured by other beings, those who are suffering from all the varieties of Adhyatmaka, Adhidaivaka, Adhibodhika. But for Advaita Acharya, even those who were prosperous, who were healthy, who were enjoying all the best things of life, he felt the same sorrow for them. Because he knew it's just a matter of a little time till they suffer. And in the meanwhile, they're deprived of the happiness of the soul. He was saying that without prema bhakti, without love of Krishna, spiritually, we are poverty-stricken. We could be famous. We could have millions or billions of fans. We could have tremendous power over planets like Hiranyakashipu, power over money. We could have great resources of land. We could have incredible intellect. We can have incredible skills. But none of these things could give even the slightest hint of happiness to the soul. They're all sensual and mental and egoistic forms of joy. But we're not the ego, and we're not the mind, and we're not the body. For those who understand that they are the eternal soul, for those who taste the sweetness of bhakti, we're not envious of people who have more than us, or we're not arrogant toward people who have less than us. Suradam sarvabhutanam. One who realizes the soul beyond the ego and who loves God is a well-wisher for everyone. And a well-wisher for everyone means a well-wisher for the soul. And to honor and respect the body and the mind, but in connection with the soul. Devotees don't neglect their concern for the bodies and minds of others. But it's in connection with the soul, because that's where complete health can only be found. Advaita Acharya, he was feeling when he was seeing great famous scholars, orators, kings, queens. He was crying to see their pathetic condition. They were bereft of the soul's love for Krishna. And he didn't just feel this way. Because if you really feel this way, you want to do something about it. Bhakti is a movement of activists. Advaita Acharya, like Madhavendra Puri, along with Haridas Thakur, if they could even give one person love for Krishna, they would give their lives. That was their compassionate spirit. But he was thinking that to give the love of Krishna in this age of Kali, to spread the glories of the holy name in this age of Kali, and to present the path of loving Krishna the way the residents of Vrindavan love Krishna. Only Radha and Krishna can do that. That was his feeling. Haridas Thakur was chanting 300,000 names of the Lord, crying out for the Lord to appear to bless us. Advaita Acharya, he was praying, he was chanting, he was crying. He read one verse from the Gautamiya Tantra that describes that if someone offers waters from Mother Ganga and a tulsi leaf with love and devotion, the Lord will hear that prayer. So he spent day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year with the Shalagram Shila on the bank of the Ganga in Shantipur, offering Ganga Jal, water from Ganges, tulsi leaves. And while he's making this offering, endless tears pouring from his eyes, crying out for Krishna. In his love for Krishna, he was crying out for Krishna for us. For the souls beloved, bereft of bhakti in this world. And he fasted. Until Krishna comes to this world, I'm going to fast, and I'm going to do this vrata of crying out, begging him through the holy names to come to this world. And it's very interesting that a person who is categorized an untouchable and a person who is categorized as the king of the Brahmins, together, their friendship, their respect, their love for one another was the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend to this world. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself personally proclaimed on so many occasions, it is because of Advaita Acharya's compassion for all beings, he called me to descend into this world as the most munificent, magnanimous, and merciful of all incarnations. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Padayane. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is our debt to Advaita Acharya? And when Lord Gauranga appeared on the Gaur Purnima, an eclipse took place on the evening of the full moon, and he appeared as the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. And because of the eclipse, everyone was chanting. Whether they knew why or not, it was just a tradition. They chanted Hari Hari. And while everyone was chanting, Srivas and the other devotees were thinking, let this eclipse last forever. But Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur, they were together and they felt a special ecstasy in their heart where they knew their prayer was fulfilled. The Lord had appeared. But for the Lord's pastimes, he later covered them over to not recognize. It's very beautiful to remember this event that I'm about to speak here at Radhanath Bihari Temple. Srila Prabhupada tells the story. When he was a little boy, and I think it was actually when he was he was either in his school or his college, but they practiced for a play for many, many months, just to perform one time. And he and his friends and his classmates, they were practicing and practicing and practicing, I think for almost a year, just for one performance of a particular play. It was a play about the life of Lord Chaitanya. And do you know the part that Srila Prabhupada played? He was given the part of Advaita Acharya. And he was crying and praying for Lord Chaitanya to appear. And he was crying and praying for the condition of suffering of all the living beings within this world. And Srila Prabhupada described, he played that part with so much emotion that everyone in the audience was crying as he was playing Advaita Acharya's role. That it's like a prophecy. When Srila Prabhupada was on Jaladuta, those beautiful prayers that he wrote, he had no disciples. He had no movement. He wrote these prayers in a little diary, a little notebook. It was just between him and Krishna. He probably didn't even consider that it would ever be published. or that people all over the world would be studying these prayers or singing these prayers. And essentially, what is his prayer? That same spirit of Advaita Acharya and all of our great acharyas as it has descended through our parampara. He left Vrindavan for no other reason than it was Lord Chaitanya's mission, Lord Nityananda's mission. And it was Advaita Acharya's prayers that was like foundational for that mission, that invoked that mission. He's praying, Krishna, please give me the words. Krishna, please, you speak your words through me, and you give them the understanding, the ability to understand your words. At that time, India was considered a very poor country, and America was the wealthiest country. And he's praying and crying, please give me the words to save these people who are completely in the clutches of passion and ignorance. I want, Srila Prabhupada was praying, quote unquote, that everyone will be happy. But what is his definition of happiness? We say happy birthday. That's a nice thing. We're not against happiness, but we are identifying what real happiness actually is. Happy birthday is, the real happiness is when we understand the purpose of birth in this human form of life. And just as Advaita Acharya fasted, and he cried and he performed tapasya for us, Srila Prabhupada did like that. And after starting a movement in the Western world, after great, great struggle and pure compassion and prayer, Srila Prabhupada said, I had complete faith in the words of my Guru Maharaj to take Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the West, and complete faith in the holy name of Krishna that had the power to give love of God. And when His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj was here with Srila Prabhupada, Radhanath Bihari were living in a little shed that was built that was so simple. Practically even the original form of that shed, even the poorest people of India have better accommodation. Yes? And so many mosquitoes, and so many rats, and so many snakes, and so many unfriendly people, and so many attacks. But yet, out of such deep, profound, personal, direct compassion for all of us, Srila Prabhupada was praying to Radhanath Bihari that a beautiful temple would be built here to share this message of of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. To give the highest rasas of Sri Vrindavan Dham to the path of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the association of devotees and the chanting of the holy names. In fact, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj often gives lectures on the subject that Srila Prabhupada completed the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita here at Radhanath Bihari Temple in Juhu. So what we know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world, it began with that translation, and then later people were giving us Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad translations, and actually almost hardly anyone, even in India, understood the glories of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, and all the devotees, until Srila Prabhupada gave us Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he wrote a beautiful, beautiful essay at the back, at the very end, where he describes that he's completed this great work here at Radhanath Bihari Temple in Juhu, Mumbai. And why was that so meaningful? Because here, when everything seemed practically impossible, when there was so much darkness all around, he was crying and praying. So that Radhanath Bihari, Gaurnitai, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanumanji could shine the light of their mercy, their grace, and their compassion upon all of us. At the beginning of the lecture, I was thinking of so many stories about Advaita Acharya to tell, but I don't have time to finish the first one. I'm sorry. There's a tradition. This day of Advaita Acharya's appearance, it's the one day of the year that devotees within our sampradaya all over India and all over the world really remember and focus upon and glorify and worship and meditate upon the supreme compassion of Advaita Acharya. Vaishnavanam yata shambhu. It is described Lord Shiva, Mahadev, is the greatest of Vaishnavas. And this line is from a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's in context of Lord Shiva seeing that there was during the churning of the ocean of milk, there was a deadly poison that was spreading everywhere. This poison was so powerful, beyond any poisons that we know in the world today. It could practically destroy all life in the universe. And when Lord Shiva saw it, even the demigods, the asuras, everyone felt totally helpless with the spreading of this poison. No one had power to do anything because it was growing. They approached Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu said, let us all go together to Mahadev, Lord Shiva. The Lord loves to see his devotee glorified. When Krishna revealed the universal form to Arjuna, he manifested, you really don't have to fight, I could do it. But he wanted Arjuna to have the credit, because that gives even more pleasure to the Lord when he does than doing it himself. So Vishnu brought everyone to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva accepted the role of drinking the entire expanding ocean of poison. He concentrated it into a small amount and drank it. And there is a verse spoken by Sukadev Goswami that one who is the greatest service one can offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the willingness to make the sacrifice of even suffering to show compassion to others. And the greatest compassion is to liberate the soul from the bondage of death and to give unconditional prema, unconditional love of God. So Lord Shiva is herein, because of his unconditional compassion and willing to take the sacrifice for the well-being of others, he's considered the greatest Vaishnava. And Advaita Acharya Sadashiva. Sadashiva is the original form on which Shiva is incarnating. What is his compassion? And he worshipped the Lord for these years of his vrata with tulsi leaves and Ganges water. And it's also very interesting, because as Mahavishnu, he's Vamanadev. What is the Ganges? It's the Charnamrit of Vamanadev, which flows as the Ganges in the heavenly worlds. And when the great King Bhagirath wanted to bring the Ganges to this earth planet to deliver his ancestors, and ultimately it was the Lord's will, so that the pure, compassionate energy of the Lord in liquid form would flow. Krishna worshipped the Ganga and the Yamuna. Ramchandra worshipped the Ganga. All of our acharyas worship Ganga. But in order to come to this world, it was Lord Shiva who received the Ganges on his head and moderated its flow. So here is Mahavishnu, the source of Ganga, Sadashiva, from whom the Ganga is coming to this world by his compassion of moderating it, regulating it. And Advaita Acharya is the source of both Mahavishnu and and Shiva. And he's humbly in the role of a devotee taking the water of the Ganga and crying out, please Radha and Krishna, please come in your form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It is unbearable to see the condition of the people in this world. And Srila Prabhupada manifested that heart. We are also fortunate. Today is Republic Day. So we offer all obeisances to great Bharat Varsha, to the great land of Bharat. And we remember the very spirit of these great avatars and these great acharyas who actually make the great Republic of India or Bharat truly transcendently great. The knowledge, the love, the compassion that has come from the hearts of the avatars, the saints of India, is really the glory of India. So I wish you happy Republic Day. And I wish, considering somewhere in the world, it's still Advaita Acharya's appearance day. I wish that his mercy, his compassion, his love, that it will bless all of us and let us receive it with really grateful hearts. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.